There was no real reason I bought a second-hand laptop. I didn't need one, but I did. And I didn't think much about the old hard drive still inside it until I started poking around. It only took a few folders to understand that someone had been watching me. I still don't know for how long. I work from home, have for about 3 years now. My apartment is small, one bedroom, a living room I use as an office, a kitchen I mostly use to make coffee, the kind of place where days can blur together if you're not careful. Wake up, open the laptop, work, close the laptop, sleep, repeat. I didn't mind it most of the time. It was quiet and it was mine, and I knew every sound the building made by heart. I bought the laptop on a Thursday off one of those second-hand apps. The listing was clean, a guy selling it because he'd upgraded, priced low, good condition. I messaged him, we met at a coffee shop near his place. I handed over the cash and he handed over the bag. 5 minutes, no complications. He seemed normal, late 20s, casual clothes, friendly enough. I didn't ask many questions. I didn't think I needed to. I got home, set it up on my desk, installed the basics. It ran well. The previous owner had done a partial wipe. The operating system was clean. The desktop was empty. But the secondary partition, the old storage drive that sat alongside the main one, had never been touched. I noticed it the second day when I was moving some files around. A drive labeled with a string of numbers, sitting there in the file manager, completely full. I should have formatted it without looking. I know that now, but I was curious. It was a Thursday afternoon. I'd finished my work early, and I'd told myself I'd just take a quick look. If it was nothing, I'd wipe it and move on. I opened it. The first thing I saw was a folder structure. Documents, photos, downloads, the standard layout of someone's personal files, just never deleted. It felt intrusive immediately, like walking into a room you weren't supposed to enter. I almost closed it right there, but the photos folder was near the top and I clicked it without fully deciding. Vacation photos, family dinners, a dog, a birthday cake with candles, normal things, the kind of images that make a hard drive feel human and a little sad. Someone's ordinary life, just left behind. I scrolled through slowly. There were hundreds of them, going back 5 or 6 years. I was about to close the folder when I noticed something. Near the bottom of the list, sorted by date, oldest first, there was a subfolder that didn't fit with the rest. No label, just a date range. The date started about 8 months ago. I clicked it. The photos inside were different from the others. No people, no events, no faces I recognized. These were taken outside. Streets, storefronts, parked cars, building entrances. All of them shot from a distance, the way you'd photograph something without wanting to be noticed. Some were blurry, some were taken through a car window. The timestamps were irregular, some taken days apart, some several in a single afternoon. I scrolled through slowly. It took me about 2 minutes to recognize the coffee shop. It was the one on the corner 3 blocks from my apartment. I walked past it every time I went to the pharmacy. I knew the awning, the outdoor tables, the particular way the light hit that corner in the late afternoon. There it was, in a photo taken on a Tuesday 6 months ago, shot from across the street. I told myself it was a coincidence. Lots of people go to that coffee shop. Lots of people photograph streets. I kept scrolling. The next photo was my street, not the general area. My street. The camera was pointed down the block from the far end, and you could see the entrance to my building clearly in the background. The timestamp was 5 months ago. I leaned closer to the screen. I looked at the entrance, the buzzer panel, the 2 steps up, the small overhang above the door. I'd walked through that entrance thousands of times. My hands had gone still on the keyboard. I scrolled to the next photo. Same street, different angle, then another, then one taken from what looked like inside a car, parked directly across from my building. The timestamp was 3 months ago, mid-afternoon. I tried to think about what I'd been doing 3 months ago on a Wednesday afternoon. Probably exactly what I'd been doing that Thursday, sitting at a desk, working, not looking out the window. I stood up. I walked to my front window and looked out at the street below. Empty. A woman with a stroller moving slowly on the far pavement. A delivery bike passing. Nothing else. I went back to the laptop. I scrolled to the end of the folder. The last photo was at the bottom of the list. I almost didn't click on it. Something in me didn't want to. I clicked on it. It was my building entrance again. Taken at night this time. The overhead light above the door was on, casting a yellow circle on the steps. And there, halfway through the door, caught mid-motion, was me. Coming home, I recognized my jacket, the bag I carry my laptop in, the way I hold my keys before I push the door open. The timestamp was 4 days ago. 4 days before I bought this laptop. 4 days before I sat across from that man at that coffee shop and handed him cash and put this machine in a bag and carried it home on the subway. I sat completely still for a long time. I tried to build an explanation. Maybe these photos weren't of me specifically. Maybe it was a coincidence. Someone who happened to photograph my street, my building entrance, and happened to catch me on the steps. But the subfolder started 8 months ago. 8 months of photos, all within a few blocks of where I live, and the most recent one was 4 days ago, 4 days before the sale. I went back through the folders slower this time. I looked at every image. I started recognizing more things. The pharmacy I used, the laundromat on the next block, the small park I cut through on the way to the subway, all of it, my whole radius, shot over 8 months, from different distances, different times of day, and in 6 of the photos, there was a figure, partially visible, partially out of frame, always at a distance. I couldn't identify the figure, but in each photo, they were facing the same direction, toward me. I closed the laptop. I opened it again 30 seconds later because I needed to see the seller's listing again. I went back to the app and found his profile. The listing was gone. The profile was gone. The account had been deleted sometime in the last few hours. I checked my messages. Our conversation was still there on my end, but his site showed as a deleted user. No name, no photo, just a gray placeholder where his face had been. I had his number from when we'd arranged the meetup. I called it. It rang 4 times and went to a generic voicemail. I didn't leave a message. I filed a police report that evening. I brought the laptop in, showed them the folder, showed them the timestamps. They looked at everything carefully. They said they'd look into it. They asked if I recognized the man I bought it from, if I had any history with him, if I could think of anyone who might want to monitor my movements. I said no to all of it. They took photos of the drive contents and told me they'd be in touch. They called once, 2 weeks later. The phone number was a prepaid SIM, purchased with cash at a convenience store, already deactivated. The deleted account had been created with a temporary email address that no longer existed. The coffee shop meetup had no cameras covering that particular table. There was nothing to trace. They never identified him. I formatted the drive that night. I know I should have left it for evidence, but I couldn't have it in my apartment anymore. I wiped it 3 times. Then I sat at my desk in the dark for a while, thinking about 8 months. 8 months of photos. The fact that whoever this was had documented my entire daily radius, learned my building, learned my entrance, and then sold me the device that contained all of it. I've thought a lot about why. The most unsettling possibility, the one I keep coming back to, is that he wanted me to find it, that handing it over was intentional, that those photos were meant to be seen. I still work from home. Same apartment, same desk, same window. But I don't walk past that coffee shop anymore. I changed my route to the subway. Small adjustments. The kind you make when you don't know what you're adjusting for. He's never made contact. I don't know if he's still watching. I don't know if the photos stopped or if they just stopped being stored somewhere I can find them. I bought a secondhand laptop because the price was right and I didn't think much about it. I know better now.